long story, Bill. First of all, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. It's really an honor to chat to you. Well, long story. I was born in Belfast, Northern Ireland, and immigrated to South Africa when I was 6, and was educated in South Africa, and then at the age of 18, 19, started to travel a lot. I was a professional triathlete, which is swimming, cycling, and running, and started to travel the world as an athlete myself. Before that, I was a decent junior tennis player, ranked in the top 15 in the under 14s and under 12s without a coach. I was brought up in a family with not a lot of money, so we couldn't afford a coach, and sometimes I'd even have to borrow tennis rackets and use balls that even your dog wouldn't want to chew around the garden. But always loved tennis and always had a real passion for it, wanted to be the best. I remember growing up in South Africa as a young kid, 11, 12, and going to go watch guys like Brad Gilbert and Pat Cash when they came out to play the South African Open before the sanctions and everything. So, tennis has always been my number one passion.
Yeah, that's great. I wasn't sure where you were from. Actually, a little something you should know about me is that my family were known as the Ulster Scots, and were supposed to go to Ulster to help quell some rebellion there, but then became known as the biggest troublemakers of all, and then we sent to the New World. So.
Well, it's a small world because, I was just chatting to Rory McIlroy, who obviously is Caroline's boyfriend, Caroline Wozniacki, and, Rory's also an Ulster man, so, we always have a lot to talk about, and we have decent rugby teams over there as well, so, small world.
That's very interesting background, and, it's similar to Johan Kriek because Johan, was born into a farming family, and they were lucky enough to have a concrete tennis court where he played all day and all night.
Bill, you're just making me smile because you're just mentioning, one of my heroes in the game, Johan Kriek, and not a lot of people know about him as much as, say, a McEnroe O'Connors or whatever, but, Johan, 2-time Australian Open champion, and actually just ran into him now in New York at the U.S. Open and with his wife, and just it was the first time I'd met him, and what a super guy, what a friendly, humble guy, just a real champion.
Before we go too off on that, I just want to give you an anecdote. He came on my show, and he was kind of running through a list of his accomplishments, and he very matter-of-factly said, and I beat Guillermo Vilas in the quarterfinals of the French Open, and then I did this, and I was like, wait, hold on a second, we have to talk about that. So there was a whole story about that. I mean, Rafa beat Vilas's all-time clay court winning streak, so Vilas was ruling the clay. Anyway, we're already on a tangent. Let's come back and let's talk about training, okay?